Okay, I think we have done some progress. It seems to me that the very thing is making clear how afraid of him you are and how you are afraid of your own mother. Doug says that you get nervous whenever you see her, or well, that may be due to fear probably, but now, since we are at it, we may be in a position to help you, your mother and you. She gets all worked up. Who knows if she does not know what to do with you? Or what is the effect you cause her? Well, but kids, you have to transmit them a sense of safety. You have to support them, to stand up for them. Of course, if and when you can do that. If and when, no. Yes, if and when you can do that. All right, when you can do that. And when you can't, well, won't you try and analyze? Well, but she's doing a therapy. You tell me right now, mark my word, she's doing a therapy. If you say so right now, we are doing a therapy. All of us, everyone. For your information, I'm also doing a therapy because I learn from you all. In other words, it seems to me that we are facing a similar set of problems likely to deal with facts we are mentioning now. Your mom is afraid of you. She's afraid of your violence. But she gets on my nerves. She gets on my nerves until I burst out. Your mom is afraid of your violence. I think that you too are afraid of your own violence, and him too, and you too. You have just said you could snatch somebody's head off. Well, not really snatching the head off. Okay, that's a way of putting it. Anyway, that's a violent way of putting it. But that does just not justify my mother yelling at me, "You're nuts," each and every morning. Doc, about you said I would snatch somebody's head off. I didn't say that. You did. Well, okay, that is, if I have somebody that during 7 days a week, someone keeps yelling at me, "You're sick," at the moment I don't feel so sick, maybe is nobody going to believe me. Maybe I'm going to try showing her to which point I can get sick, so maybe I would hit that busybody. Ill. I want to ask something. Gustavo's mom, he was institutionalized last year. He came back this year, but by his own means. I think you mean on his own accord. Well, on his own accord, because he came in here. Well, yes, last year. That means he had good memories of this place. He liked it here. I don't know. Well, the first time maybe they somewhat forced him to enter or not, and then he was pleased. That's just it. That's what I'm explaining to your mother, so that she may understand that the fact you did come here is most positive. Positive for you, for her, for everybody involved. Fine. Why, sincerely, there are moments when I feel that he's the one who loses control what I'm going to do. If he loses control, what to do? But wait a sec, Gustavo. Why on earth does your mother say those things? Because she thinks that there are some aspect of yours she doesn't know well enough. That's all right. There are still things of mine she never knew. She still doesn't know you. Yes, I think that's right. I think there are a lot of things of mine she simply doesn't know. That's why she doesn't know me. That's why she never knew how to support me. All right, could be. And that's why, who knows, if we can't teach her one thing or two about you, Sonny, we may tell you how to know her a little more. Why did you say you had came here because it was the only place you could stay at, just to live here? All right. I'm going to explain. After the first discharge I was given, well, my family didn't want to get involved again, and I was not quite well when I left. I still had my, well, I felt terrible, quite terrible. The situation is that the place we lived at, Mom had to leave it and all that. I've already found a job, and so I could have gone and lived with her, but she did not want that. So she left us, my brother and me, where she lived. She just left. She just sold all the furniture and she just left her adrift. The thing it cost me more to accept, more than anything else, is that she abandoned me like that. I meant my own, she took away all that my girlfriend had given me. Well, my ex-girlfriend, really girl I had been dating with for 2 years, and I just felt abandoned. Well, that was awful for me. It was shocking for me to be discharged from hospital and being all alone on my own. And she told me, just rent yourself a room, start living on your own. But I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared as yet. I had fears, and well, I started hating her. I was full of resentment. I was as angry as can be. A lot of anger, you see. You saw it during the last meeting, but well, beyond all that, the guy who has to cope with everything, now that's me. Anger, I still feel, oh yeah, anger, I have it well inside me. Now you could think that when your parents, your mother as well as your father, were unable to support you, could you think it was so because they were not in a position to do it? Yeah, I bet they weren't in a position. His father was separated, my husband and I. Gustavo, he lived with his father for a little while. His father as a woman, he couldn't stand her. That's why he came here. We were living in a guest house. I brought him with me at the guest house. He lived me there for a while. Talk about the job. Oh, okay, I told him, come and live with me at the guest house. When you say, all right, Mom, I didn't interrupt you. Once he was angry, I don't remember why, and he told me, I don't smash you up because I'm here. Here, he meant at the guest house, do you see? What do you think, Doc? Am I not able to be afraid? He hit me. I'm going to smash you up or anything similar. That's an unsavory thing to say, but of course I'm afraid, and you're entitled to be afraid. That's logical. Anyone would be afraid. Violence is always frightening, but when you listen to... I think it's understandable. Should he say to me, I'm going to smash you up and so on, I would be afraid. And how? But when you listen to what he's saying, you start understanding his rage, don't you? So then, she's the one who doesn't want to understand that. She's still unwilling to accept it. She can't accept it as yet. When I'm angry, I spill it all over, and I say things that are no good. I can understand that, but the connection is so strong inside that until I calm down good and proper, I will not be able to say anything else. On the other hand, I think that this rage is going to calm down whenever I start to find again my way in life, because if I have a girlfriend who throws me over or leaves me and you say, well, that I must get things straight all by myself and all that, and all is piling up, well, I think like setting fire to everything around. I want to say a thing or two words at least. I have 2 children, Patience, Cesar, and Gabriela. I will let Gabriela do the talking because she was able to come here. She did an effort. She had to ask for permission at her job when she came here, and I think that I'm in the very middle of that. All that's listened to here, because the relationship between Cesar and me, well, let him tell it all about. Relationship was never friendly. It always took place among arguments, attacks, and I think when you have a closer look at things, who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Sometimes he created things on purpose just to get me mad. When things happen like this, I get mad at him, and we end badly, we do end badly, who knows, I may be wrong. The two of them, they reproach me for doing things a father is not supposed to do. Not only Cesar, Gabriela also reproaches me for doing a lot of things she dislikes. Well, I would like to pass the mic over to them so that they say in their own words, because I definitely believe that they must speak by themselves. Can I drop a word or two? I don't know you personally, I don't know him or anybody else. However, if I take into account all that has been said, okay, can be wrong. I repeat, I may absolutely be wrong, so please forgive me. That is, I put myself into Cesar's shoes. I repeat, I'm not acquainted with him. And so I would tell you, listen, Dad, if you feel that I'm trying to have an argument with you, you're right. But do you know why I do that? Because it's the only way to have you with me a little, a way for you to get busy about myself. And I only can achieve that by causing an argument between us. I may be wrong. I say strange things at times. You may think I'm crazy. Never mind. Go ahead, Cesar. Well, I think that all Dad said about arguments and all that bursted out at the time, I just felt terrible. All the brawls and all that I caused with yelling and arguments I had with him, that was with a double intention, right? That I did so that he either threw me out or realized things as they really were, and act accordingly. Well, that's the second time I come to the meeting. Those are my working hours, and well, I'm unable to come here because, well, you know how the situation is nowadays. A girl must take care of her job, and when I came here because my brother started working today, and well, in front of everyone here, I want to tell you that I'm proud of him, and well, I do not demonstrate my feelings a lot, but really I'm very fond of him. Can I say something? Hey, you too. Would it bother you too much to share this hugging and kissing with Dad? Don't you feel better now? I think that when you're in a position to hug and kiss, well, I don't know if you're in a position to hug and kiss right now, or if it's necessary for you to, well, another week, 10 more days, 1 month, couldn't you please hug and kiss all of you and stop fussing? Just do it now. Hey, you go kiss your mom. There, go kiss your mom. Go kiss your mom too. Cesar with his father or his mother, I don't know him, but hugging and kissing like that, so affectionately like that, in their relationships with his mother and father, I never seen such a thing. And it called my attention that they could share such an emotion. I see that is very little I can do, because I think that as far as he's concerned, he doesn't know, he doesn't do a lot, so to speak. Maybe you cannot do too much, you on your own side, but here were a lot of people eager and willing to help him. You talk about fear, and I was afraid several months afterwards. The other day when Salvador was at home, on Saturday he was perfectly okay. Now on Sunday he wasn't feeling well again. And at midnight, a quarter after midnight, he drops in my bedroom and he says, "Mom, I want to tell you something." And what he says, he's so horrible that I stayed awake until 4 a.m. have an idea of what he did. Me, in time past, I prayed. I don't go to Mass and all that, but I stick to the Blessed Virgin that gives me a tremendous strength. After that, I took a half Lexotanil and I did some yoga just to calm down. And I said to myself, how horrible, it's terrible, Dad horrible, and Mom, all of that so disgustingly sexual. It was so definitely shocking. Well, he dropped in my bedroom a quarter after midnight. He was quite high. Dad hadn't had his heart attack as well. He had been to my parents. Salvador, my dad, can't stand him, so Salvador teases him. So a most disgusting story. Disgusting, absolutely. Mom was supposed to have had 6 children by magic. Dad was a CC and he masturbated. I can't repeat all he said, and Salvador listened to me. And he started talking, so I told him, Salvador, go see a doctor. I don't act as a moralist, and I have always talked to my children, but there are things that, well, I'd rather not do. So I told him, Salvador, things are not what you say. Besides, Mom is a 77-years-old woman. Grandma is in good health. Well, yeah, but when he dropped in my bedroom at a quarter after midnight, I was afraid. And this persecutive delirium stopped right away. Mom must have talked to her brother and they got wise. That's the style of them, my uncles, I mean. They are kind of sick, they are kind of sissies, they have been shot at, they have been kidnapped. That is, I've acted, my mother doesn't want to admit it, and this is the basis for the problems with my mother. Some 2.5 years ago, they stopped teasing me. So I went to Elvira Hospital and there to get institutionalized for a persecutive delirium. A persecutive delirium is cured right away, even though I had to call my mom for them to stop teasing me. My impression that all this is quite complex. In order to understand fully, we are going to need a special time. Let me do the talking, will you? But it seems to me that, as it is in every delirium case, that there is always a part of truth. Even though fantasies goes rampant in any delirium, delirium is always built upon a part of truth. Why do you say that? I've just told you is a delirium. No, I don't say what you have just said is delirium. I say that you were told it was delirium. So you say I'm right. Okay, but listen to me a minute. I said that delirium includes, at the very least, a part of truth. So, one part for you and one part for people say that it's plain delirium. Let me follow on a little. I can't say that all the things you tell are entirely true because I just don't know. That's the first time I listen to you, so give me a break. Let me tell you that there's a part of truth in what you say, and we must acknowledge this part of truth so that, if possible, you're in a position to discover that part of fantasy you add to the part of truth. There's something related to your grandfather's sexuality. Well, a second. You don't know what all it is, and I don't want to get involved in that for the time being because it's most complicated. But I think all these things are related to and have been built up by you with all the fantasies children make up about adults' sexuality. Adult sexuality is seen from a child's eye, and that's what frightened parents so much. It's a part, so to speak, that makes parents so much afraid of their children. So we should help parents so that they are less frightened by children's sexuality. If not, we will be facing the problem she mentioned. What was your name, please? Oh, Gabriela. What Gabriela says, what food for thought. Unfortunately, the good aspects of you people could not be supported or accepted enough, and that's why the feeling of resentment, pain, suffering, thinking that you are no good, thinking that nobody understands you make an appearance. Yeah, that's it. However, I think we can start the other way, because when you hugged and kissed a moment ago, I considered feeling were genuine, and from then on, if possible, we are going to build that could not be built before, and this is similar to other situations too. So, from now on, you will be in a position to build with your mother many things you were not in a position to build before. Well, yes, maybe, but she doesn't want to see it because their brothers are involved, and this is painful for her. Well, looking at the expression on her face, I should say that she sees much more than you think. There's a pal here, I ain't gonna his name, well, he doesn't feel like cooperating. Have a look at your mom, she understands. I would like to ask you if we are born mad or we become mad. My, what a question. Say, you were already mad when you were born. Me, I wasn't, but that drove me mad. Did you ever see a mad baby? And why am I all alone here? No, I've never seen one. So, there is no such thing as mad babies. We are not born mad. With the milk, when they give the baby his formula, they have baby becoming mad. But they drove me mad. And if they drove me mad, why on earth am I here at a mental hospital? And who drove me mad? People drove me mad. People. With all the things we are talking about here today, I guess we are replying to your question, don't we? That is, instead of somebody believing that he can say no because mental illness comes from that and from heredity and all that, we are learning now, all of us, what's the very thing, sharing madness, a little sort of patient mother speak. When he came in here, I was feeling awful. Here he's normal. When he comes back home, he's completely normal. The only bad thing, he feels awful because his wife and him are separate. He has kids at school. He has also a daughter, but well, she's not her daughter. She's 15 years old. He has got problems, but he lives with me. Well, now he's discharged from here, completely normal. He is at that point that he could work as a taxi driver, but afterwards, on account of problems or because he doesn't take his medicine he's supposed to take, his head starts working, he gets out of his depth, he gets and he comes back here as he's no breakers. Talking as he talking now, but as soon as he starts taking his medicine again, he starts normal again, but completely normal and not bad. The only thing is that he froze up his medicine. So now the taxi, he's not going to drive it again. He's going to take his medicine and stay here all the time he needs until he's discharged and he feels completely good. I'm the one who lives with him because I'm the one who has him at home. So that's why I take him here, because I know that here he's well again, but he's not to go out presto. He will go out when he's quite well, and his medicine he's going to take it when I'm home, because I'm the one in command. Well, I'll talk. I never had any difficulties with my son. Since he was taken ill, I came in here, he was quiet enough. Well, that happened to me. He never called me names as he did that day when he said horrible things. But he never did me any harm, nothing. He keeps me company. When he's at home, he keeps me company nicely. And he's very quiet. I feel completely safe with him at home. But that week, I don't know what happened. I cooked lunch. This must be due to a resentment he feels against me. He's taken ill, and I take him here. That's it. This is what he has against me. He gets sick and I take him in. Doctor, there is nothing. He never behaved aggressive. But that time I was afraid of him. Well, once you told me I was a son of a bitch. Well, you started calling me names. I threw myself on my bed crying as crazy, and he called me whore, and I told her I felt I was not loved. Well, that's it, doctor. He felt terrible that day, and he called me names. I did not expect him to call me. I felt quite hurt, but at least I came here to fetch him because he's my son and I love him. I came here to fetch him and I took him back home again, and then he came back here all by himself. He came back here. Yeah, I came back here all by myself because you that day you threw me out of home. On that day, no, on that day I did not throw you out of home. That day you told me you're leaving home. I told you I'm on a 3-day leave, 3 days, and I behaved during a week at hospital. Look here, I told you when you called me names, you called me whore on the bed, and so many ugly things I did not expect from you. I told you, Uncle Luis, you go back to hospital because I don't want you around here. Get out, by God. And he said, I don't get out because this house is mine. Well, he stayed, but when he felt like it, he left and told me I'm on my way. The cops to turn me in. No, I frightened him with the police because you don't know. I say I don't know what to do with that boy. I wanted to include you all because I think that even in the peak of higher violence, it's possible to include you people. You get positive things. You're important because you bring our point of view, which we can listen to because you can't stand the emotion it causes to you. Well, we are here to stand up a little more than we have been used to stand up for until now. If not, we would not be going to learn anything. You'll be talking all the whole morning long. If I had some more time available, I think we could do that indeed. If we closed the door and we stayed all of us inside, I think that Angel Luis would eventually calm down. But we can't. So we have to let him go. If he wishes so, he may come back later on.
Si nos cerramos la puerta acá y nos quedamos todos acá adentro, poco a poco Ángel Luis se iría calmando, yo creo.
A very important thing, Angel Luis told me that before, 1 hour and a half ago, he wanted to be discharged. He was okay, he felt fine, and now he's nervous. I don't know what's eating him. That I wanted to tell, nothing else. Okay. This too is important. Who can say whoever is entitled to say which one feels fine and which one doesn't? How can anybody say who's okay and who isn't? Obviously, the first person who has to say, I feel fine, that's me. I can't say I feel fine, I feel terrific and this and that, but somebody else says, no, the guy doesn't look so well, something is wrong. That means that feeling okay or not must be agreed upon a consensus basis. I can say I feel fine, but other people must also agree that I look fine.
Debe ser, digamos, algo por consenso. La persona tiene que decir que está bien, pero los demás también tienen que verlo bien.
Families. Sometimes relatives are frightened. It's a burden. They feel crushed by all kinds of problems, so you enter an intolerant situation so that you are no longer able to enjoy a real family life. That's why people go to hospitals.
Y se entra en una situación de intolerancia que no se puede vivir en la familia. Y por eso las personas a veces necesitan venir a un hospital.
May I would like my relatives to come here because my relatives never come in here. I invite them to come every Monday, every Holy Monday, but now they can't come in. I would like them to be here so they could know me and listen to my problems. You are not only right, but also you ask for something absolutely valuable, and that's why we do these things together. What I can suggest to you, your relatives don't visit you for the time being, maybe in the near future. Anyhow, you should try and discover that you are some kind of a substitute family, so you can prepare yourself to get along with your relatives. If you you get along with us first.
sustitutivos en nosotros
That's a way you can use to prepare yourself.
y que se vaya preparando para poder entenderse mejor con sus familiares en la medida que pueda entenderse mejor con nosotros. Eso es una forma, es un camino para poder prepararse.
I have no communication with regards to my relatives. I have problems. I have arguments with my mother, with my father about anything that goes wrong in our business, a wrong tariff or something. I don't know why they don't want to come here. There are lots of motives for not visiting a mental hospital. Sometimes people are afraid of this kind of hospital. Listen to me a minute. They're afraid of the name of the hospital or because it's a mental hospital. Well, they're afraid of many things. Either hospital's name it's being a mental hospital or afraid of people you imagine here, and also a family expects that, let's say they think their relative will feel better in the near future, so will be in a better position to talk. But actually, patients need to talk to feel better. So a vicious circle is created, which makes things more and more difficult. So sometimes people prefer to wait and see. Angel Luis, for example, you must wait before you talk to him, but he needs to talk if he wants to get somewhat better, and it's very difficult to arrange things that way. It seems to me we are trying to find a way to help us a little more, a way to manage moments of heavy violence, above all among our family.
Para poder ver cómo se pueden manejar momentos de mucha violencia.
How can we manage violence? Okay, in my case, there has been a similar situation with the family arguments. Me, last weekend, I had a terrible argument with my parents, and I somewhat took the decision to come back here because I didn't feel well at home. I think Doc's right. It has to do with the need you have to get in touch directly with your family or anybody else. We are quite disconnected at home now. I don't know whether I'm to blame for that, who knows. But if no one tries his best, each one of us tries to get better, we won't do it. Today, for example, my family isn't here. I was waiting for them, and now I don't know what happened. Maybe they've accepted my decision to leave home all of a sudden, like that. I think everything comes from the fact that I feel a loner, and they're also loners, and the need to be with someone, we look for that, and we try and replace it with aggressivity and abuse and arguments and endearment sometimes. I think this is not only a tolerance problem, it's a need problem. In other words, a mother may wish his son to be this or that, but this is what she needs, and whenever her son doesn't live up to her expectations, she can't tolerate that. Her wishes, she can't tolerate. Her wishes don't come true or don't fulfill her needs to have an excellent son, an intelligent son, and so on. That is a bright person likely to give her lots of satisfactions, while this usually fails to happen. On the other hand, if you are not just as your parent wished, this is likely to give rise to guilty feelings. You feel you're a bad son.
Por otra parte, el no ser como los padres esperan que uno sea, a veces genera sentimiento de culpa. Uno se siente un mal hijo.
And feeling you're a bad son makes you feel miserable. I think about all you've said, and you are almost right. Sometimes I think that your family wants you to be as they wish. That is not really as you are. That is, your family wants to build something according to their own tastes. I can't explain myself clearly. According to what they want, and when you aren't as they want, there's a gap. Many things happen. That's what happened with my aunt. I feel very grateful. She worries about myself, but sometimes I ask her to say a little and chat, not only coming here to bring me some cigarettes. I've asked you many a time to stay and chat with me, to keep me company. I need her to stay, to chat. But there's something else. It's possible that you are not sure about what you want to be or what you can be, because if you could feel sure about yourself, your aunt would be the first person to feel at ease with you, even though you weren't just what she expected. I think when you explained quite well, because I think all that is quite linked with all we were talking about, I think that what your aunt needs is knowing that you feel well, that you can face life. And you, what you need is that she comes here to chat with you, to find out her opinion, if she can give you some advice, if she can help you facing life. In other words, you still don't think sure about yourself. So you're not feeling quite sure about yourself is also a source of anxiety. My not feeling sure started with institutionalization. That is, as soon as institutionalization started, I began feeling unsure. I began feeling afraid. Before that, well, as anybody else, I was afraid, as anybody else is afraid in life, but feeling unsure, that began with institutionalizations. Institutionalization is most likely to cause you feeling unsure because you say to yourself, but what, I'm ill? No, being institutionalized can also be the starting point for you to feel more and more sure about yourself. I don't know if I speak clearly. In other words, institutionalization is a moment in life when you can review things of time past, things that led you to hospital, so as of institutionalization, you can get more and more confident than before. Because it sometimes happened, you felt safe before, but your safety was not entirely safe. You were persuaded all was fine, but all of a sudden you did a crisis because you were facing a situation you couldn't manage. That doesn't mean being discharged from hospital bright as a $1 million with only a little medicine to take, because that's precisely what Angel Luis' mother was talking about when she stated he was going to stay in here until she advised to the contrary, and that he was to take his medicine and she would see to it, by golly. I never said that. Oh, yes, you did. And what you did, it was because you were persuaded that this is the right way to solve people problems. But sorry, that's not the way. Well, Fabian, I listen to him and I feel somewhat dazzled. Fabian himself, he doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know. One day he wants this, and the day after he wants that, and day after tomorrow he will be wanting something else. And I think neither I nor him are in a position to decide what suits him best. This not being sure about himself, he transmits it to others. He transmits it because let's suppose we have a project and now he has another one. So that is not his being unsure. The point is everybody being unsure about everything. When he says, we don't keep him company because definitely that's what he just said. He would like everybody to come and keep him company all the time. He jolly well knows we have obligations to fulfill. I, for one thing, I work. I work, let's call that a freelance work, but I work. After that, I'm occupied with his kids because whenever his wife can go, I go and fetch them at school if they need to have a vaccination. There I go. That is, even though I do not give him all my time, I do it one way or the other.
Entonces quiere decir que aunque yo directamente no dedique mi tiempo personalmente a él, de alguna manera se lo estoy dando.
I think all this is most interesting, and why. If I understood correctly, Fabian said he feels alone in the world, and especially when he's here. When you visit him, he feels that he needs to talk to you. He simply needs to be with you. He refers to something emotional, affective, something from his inner world, something linked to his family, what we just mentioned a moment ago. The thing that puzzles you is that you're good to him, you look after his children, you do a lot of things to him, and you think he doesn't acknowledge it.
Emocional, afectivo de su mundo interno, que tiene que ver con la familia y con lo que estábamos hablando recién acá. Usted, lo que no se explica es que usted es buena, se ocupa de los hijos de él, hace una serie de cosas.
That is, you can't understand his point of view. The thing is not that he doesn't acknowledge it, he simply doesn't see it. Nevertheless, he just did it right now, and curiously enough, you are both of us talking through me as if you felt you have to give explanation to somebody else. And my impression is that you people need a third party. There are always mothers and sons alone without the presence of a father. There are very few fathers present here today. I think you are the only one among us. In other words, there is something basic missing. Father is missing. When I had my opportunity to attend a course, principal, the first time I took it a little as a way to get out of here, as if I said, I'm not doing a treatment. Now, as soon as I started understanding iBox engines, when I looked at motor compressors and all the circuits, so I started thinking more and more, and that's how I recall that before, quite before, during my first institutionalization, how I was, all of a sudden, I was mentally okay, but from a personal point of view, all of a sudden, at time, it was sort of decadent. I have my moment of decadence. You mean depression, sadness, or bitterness? No, I wasn't depressive. No, it was the lack of a personality. It was as if I was lacking stimulation, something that could tell me. Juan told me that if I kept working like that, he would take me as his partner. I made it. I was his partner at the workshop, but what happens? During a long time, I knew how to endure all the pressures, but afterwards, things get out of my hand, and in a way I felt guilty, and I thought that what I learned was useless because I was useless. In other words, you gathered a knowledge. There were things that you knew about, things that you've already done, things you could do, but at a given moment you were doubtful about those things, but you could recover, and those things proved to be useful. And these are the basics. When I spoke to Fabian, for example, when I talked about his insecurity, that's probably because he hasn't get together, so to speak, with himself. As yet, he still doesn't recognize his abilities because he's doubtful. But to be dead doubtful, that may be most important and a very good thing. That's not a bad thing, feeling doubtful. As soon as you can think things other, you can start solving problems that before you thought they had been solved, but they were not. In other words, doubt makes you think about things you never thought about before, and that's uttermost positive. It dawned on me when I was talking about that, and any idea about how that happened? Well, regarding what happened, I looked for a job, say at a workshop, so I could get things straight, I could manage things, you see, so that I could get out of here, you see, get out, get fully discharged, that's it. And when I started working, the first day, the first thing I found out was that I really enjoyed the job, and it happened to me as it happened to him. He said that he remembered things that had happened to him before, and I remember grammar school when we made the little planes. I don't know whether all people made those little planes at school with balsa wood and waxed paper. Those little planes, I remember that we made them, and we made them with so much enthusiasm. There was competitivity to see which one finished a plane first, which plane flew farther, and here too there is competitivity. That's precisely that. Both Gabriel and Cesar, and I think that Fabian too, that's his case too, they try to do things. These burst out from inside, and when these burst out from ourselves, we're quite happy. In other words, we don't keep people with difficulties here at hospital. That's the person proper whenever he or she discovers he or she has resources. That's your case, Gabriel. That's also Cesar and Gustavo's case, the resource of finding a job. Our idea is that anyone be able to discover that and start moving. Discharge from hospital is not necessarily stated by doctors. I don't feel sure about him, because today I wanted him to come in here. I told him, let's start again, and it's quite difficult for me to have my family united, difficult for me to talk to my children.